coming up tonight on VCU InSight.
I'm Darnell Myrick. One area park is getting ready to close, leaving some displaced. I'll tell you more coming up.
I'm Nancy Gabaldon. One local Richmond company is working to help save the lives of our children through a new app. I'll have the latest.
And VCU held its Paralympic Experience Day, a sporting event that represented those with physical disabilities.
All this and more.
VCU InSight starts right now.
From the Richard T. Robertson School of Media and Culture at Virginia Commonwealth University, named Best Student Newscast in the Mid-Atlantic, this is VCU InSight.
Good evening and welcome to VCU InSight. I'm Danielle Gashard.
And I'm Taylor Gleason. Thanks for joining us. Topping the news tonight, changes are on the horizon for Monroe Park. However, those changes could leave dozens of homeless people displaced. InSight reporter Darnell Myrick is at Monroe Park with more. Darnell, what is happening with the park exactly?
Good evening, Taylor. Now, the oldest public park in Richmond is scheduled to undergo renovations designed to improve its image. However, the plans are being met with opposition. A typical Saturday afternoon in Monroe Park. Dozens of homeless people gather for what could be their only hot meal of the week. However, these weekly gatherings could be no more once renovations begin on the park. Jess Eisen, a member of a society without a name, also known as ASWAN, feels that the homeless community were not given a chance to voice their concerns.
The city is saying, this is what we're going to do, deal with it, and then can you throw us something that we can compromise with, which that doesn't really sound like engagement to me.
Kathy Howard of the Monroe Park Conservancy Board of Visitors says they are looking to modernize the park, much like community parks in bigger cities.
So I think we're going to have some new amenities that will bring not only students out, but people in hopefully the neighborhoods will feel like this can be their park. The amenities will be much nicer. So I feel like it'll be our own central park like you see in New York.
Now the Monroe Park Conservancy needs $3 million in order to start renovations on the park. They're more than halfway to their goal, and they're looking to reach their goal by June so they can start renovations this summer. Howard stated that the city has had meetings about the impending displacements, and they look to have the issue resolved before the park closes.
There should be better places in the city where people can go indoors, have a comfortable place to have a meal like they can do Monday through Friday.
While the Conservancy looks to push forward on their plans, ASWAN is looking to spread the word about the issue so they can put a freeze on the process.
We would like to see things slow down. We would like some reconsideration. We see a need for community outcry about how it's going down, because right now the plan is just to displace people without much else to offer. Now, ASWAN is encouraging people to come to Monroe Park Saturdays at 2 o'clock to speak out against the renovations. Back to you, Taylor.
Thank you, Darnell.
A bill is currently on the governor's table that could lead to a new Richmond Coliseum. The Virginia Senate recently passed a bill that would give the Richmond Metropolitan Transportation Authority power to own and operate the new facility. The bill now heads to Governor Terry McAuliffe for his approval for the new facility that would replace the current one that has hosted some big events over its 45-year history. Events included the NCAA tournament, the Harlem Globetrotters, and too many concerts to count. The group hopes that with a new Coliseum, bigger acts will come into the city. Zika, a virus that started in Central America, is now hitting close to home. Richmond is now at risk for the mosquito-transmitted virus, according to the Associated Press. InSight's Aaron Dean is in the studio now with more. Good evening, Aaron. So what does this mean for the city?
Good evening, Danielle. Many Richmonders may be surprised to know that their city is on watch for Zika, according to an online health website, let alone number 25 on that list. While vacationing with friends in the U.S. Virgin Islands, Richmonder Lindsay Dombert says she didn't realize the threat of Zika was even there.
We looked into it a little bit when we got back, but I feel like we found a lot of conflicting information.
Dombert and her friends didn't pay much mind to it due to the fact that they were on U.S. territory.
We didn't even really need passports to get there because it's a U.S. Virgin Island.
The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention list the U.S. Virgin Islands as an area where mosquitoes are spreading the Zika virus. The Department of Health has already confirmed 11 cases of Zika here in Virginia. These numbers get updated once a week after government labs like the DCLS or the Division of Consolidated Lab Services tests the samples to see if it actually contains the virus. Before the DCLS was chosen as a testing site, all Zika specimens got sent straight to the CDC. But with the number of Zika cases growing, the CDC got approval from the Food and Drug Administration to distribute a diagnostic test nationwide to the CDC Laboratory Response Network, which includes the DCLS.
A result that is positive, and that result requires further testing. We actually send the sample to the CDC or the Centers for Disease Control, and they do additional testing to confirm that it is a true positive test.
Now that Dawnbird and her friends are back in the States, she says all of them have learned a lesson.
We didn't realize there was a travel warning at the time, and there was. I think that'd be the first thing that I would check to see if there's a...
Dr. Denise Toney, who is the director of the DCLS, says that the lab testing for the Zika virus will be indefinite. Right now, there is no vaccine for the virus. Back to you, Danielle.
Thank you, Aaron. The dangers of online dating have been in the spotlight lately after a Washington state mother of 3 was found dead, allegedly killed by a man she met online. InSight's Grace Fernandez tells us about what the extra security measures you need to take if you plan to try dating online.
Like everything else, dating has gone online. The Pew Research Center says the use of online dating sites or mobile apps by young adults 18 to 24 has nearly tripled since 2013. Yasmin Al-Said, who uses various online dating apps such as Tinder and OkCupid, says she usually feels safe.
I would say my experiences have been pretty positive with both.
But statistics also show that people tend to lie online more often than not. One group who really worries are students that date online.
VCU police suggest that students use the LiveSave app, which allow your designated friends to track you home safely and report suspicious activity.
VCU police officer Corporal Tricia Mozingo says sexual assault cases are often associated with online dating.
Make sure that they arrange to meet in a public place. Make sure they tell their friends or family where they're going. Maybe have that friend and family member check in with them at some point.
Although Al-Said is not a student, she also turns to technology to stay safe.
You know, I've even shared the contact of my phone to my girlfriends and just been like, hey, so this is who I'm seeing, this is their number. If I don't show up later, this is who took me. Kind of joking there, but kind of not.
Al-Said says her friends even use similar apps like LiveSafe to track each other until they're safely home. For VCU InSight, I'm Grace Fernandez.
Other similar apps such as Be Safe, KiteString, and SafeTrack keep track of you and can alert police or contacts in your phone in times of emergency.
Embracing a new credit card with a shiny new chip on it? While these cards offer better security than the standard strip credit cards, chip card users are still not entirely safe from fraud. InSight's Breon Burns has more on the story.
Rena Castaneda, a senior at Virginia Commonwealth University, has already seen the dark side to the credit card world. After leaving a restaurant and checking her statements, Castaneda realized her information was stolen.
So somehow my credit card information was gained by, I don't know if it was the server, someone around her or whatnot. So we had canceled my card. They gave me a new one with a chip.
Before the chip, all credit and debit transactions used a magnetic strip and signature to record account information. EMV, which stands for Europay, MasterCard, and Visa, the 3 companies that created the chip card to help stop fraud. These smart cards store data on integrated circuits as opposed to the magnetic strip.
When I use the card, a lot of the time it doesn't work, the new machines that they have in the stores. I feel like my card might be being ran through more than once.
But according to USA Today, large merchants benefited from customers using chip cards. They have seen more than an 18% drop in fraud since 2014.
These new EMV chip cards are supposed to offer better security than the traditional magnetic strip. But like the strip, these chip cards are still vulnerable to fraud.
Vanessa Ford works in the fraud department at a large local bank. She says one of the most popular devices with credit card fraud are skimmers. Skimmers are devices made to be placed onto the mouths of ATMs to secretly steal credit and debit card information. Ford says at any given point there can be a skimming device stealing your information, so staying on top of your cards is the best thing to do.
Cardholders tend to spend lots of money and they swipe their card many times each month. But one thing that they fail to do is actually check their statements every month. And that's a good way to detect early fraud.
Cards that customers count on every day to keep their money safe. For VCU InSight, I'm Breon Burns.
As of October 1st in 2015, 60% of stores are still using traditional credit card machines. Richmond got a new church last summer. The Life Church, located at Binford Middle School off of Floyd Avenue, prides themselves on community engagement. InSight's Erica Robinson sits down with the founder and pastor of this church.
I'm here with Vernon Gordon, founder and pastor of the Life Church in Richmond. Thank you for joining us, Vernon.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
Sure. So aside from you being a VCU alum, you were also a member and pastor for other churches around the Richmond area, and then you and your wife decided to branch out and start your own ministry. What made you want to do that?
Well, I think we had a growing passion for people who were afraid of church. Whenever people think of church and they think of the word pastor, they tend to think of all the stereotypes that come along with that, particularly in 21st century culture. And after doing campus ministry here at VCU for 4.5 years, we just saw a need for something that was more comfortable, something that was a little bit more contemporary and innovative. And we said, hey, why not us? You know, and I think it was a great excitement and energy. But we also were passionate about reaching people that the church doesn't normally reach. And so we're excited about what was happening and looking forward to the future.
So you had 12 surgeries and you're cancer-free now.
Yeah, absolutely.
So how has that experience helped you start your ministry and in life?
So actually, this might seem a little like an oxymoron, but going through cancer and going through surgeries, actually I walked away from those experiences with a disdain for the church. I kind of felt like this message that I had heard my entire life about helping people and serving people, I didn't see manifested in my daily life. My parents were struggling to meet my financial needs. You know, I was in a hospital by myself. Matter of fact, I got introduced to the city of Richmond because of cancer. I grew up in Hampton Roads, and I would stay in Richmond Monday through Friday by myself some weeks, taking chemotherapy, and nobody came and visited at that time. And so while I had a wonderful church family, I didn't think they knew how to really support us in a practical way. And so that's really how we got to this place, and that experience really was the thing that prompted us to say, you know, what something look like that reaches people, and that's where the passion for it all came from.
So you were a documentary by one of the VCU alums, Travis Ellison, also did a documentary on you, and it was based upon your life and things that you do throughout the community. Can you talk about some of those things that you do in the community, because you're very active?
Absolutely. So one of the things we do is called the Gift of Hope Week. It is a week of service that we set up usually in March and November, where Monday through Saturday of that week, we just find different ways to outreach and really do meet missional needs in our community. In addition to that, one of the things we do on fifth Sundays, we don't have an actual church service, but we just do a community outreach project, and we challenge all of our members to be a part of it. So we've had a chance to be, touch people who've been victims of domestic violence, those who have dealt with homelessness in their teenage years, and just various other issues that we can just say, hey, we have the resources, we have the time, let's invest it into things that matter.
And your church donates 10% of its monthly offerings to a different program in the city. What's one of those programs that you've helped?
Absolutely, yeah. Every month we give 10% of our monthly giving to a local nonprofit or cause. And this month, actually, I'm excited as we're giving to a program called Team Excel. It is started by the former NFL player Michael Robertson, and it's in the city of Richmond and Enrico. And they basically go in with middle school students and high school students to mentor them before school starts twice a week. But what's awesome about it is the mentors that you get with your team in middle school go with you through your high school graduation. So there's no abandonment. They stay with you as long as they can to support you through your matriculation of your academic life. So it's just really exciting to support them, and we're really excited to be able to give them actually what we raised this month.
Thanks, that sounds very interesting. I've been speaking with Vernon Gordon, the founder and pastor of the Life Church in Richmond. Thanks for coming.
Thank you so much for having me.
A Southside Richmond fire station will be temporarily closed due to the building's roof being replaced. Fire Station 22 on Broad Rock Road will be closed until further notice. According to the Richmond Fire Department, Station 22 personnel have been moved to neighboring stations while the building is under construction. There has been no set date for when the station will reopen. The department also said that the closure is a precautionary measure and will have no effect on the response time for those in the area. Athletes with physical disabilities got their moment to shine. Sportable, an online organization that helps people with physical disabilities find success through the use of sports, created a day for the athletes to show off their skills. InSight's Erica Robertson is in the newsroom now with more. Good evening, Erica.
Good evening, Danielle. This was the 4th annual Paralympic Experience Day. Those that came out to compete and show their strength showed toughness and courage. While the day was full of fun for all, the highlight of the night was members of the VCU men's basketball team playing against the newly crowned wheelchair national champions. VCU gave their best, but they were no match for the champs and lost the game 23-13. 33-year-old participant Antoine Craig isn't on the basketball team, but he wanted to stay active after losing his vision in 2010 to a retinal disease. Despite losing his vision, he participates in swim, cycling, and road racing teams.
It's not easy. It's just like being a regular athlete, but we just have our own little different challenges, but we still overcome those and still compete.
The event gives people the opportunity to try out different tasks such as soccer, volleyball, and riding a bike, which may seem simple to some, but to others is not so easy. Many people confuse Paralympic with Special Olympics. The difference is Paralympic athletes have physical disabilities, whereas Special Olympic athletes have cognitive challenges. Hunter Lehman, the executive director of Sportable, says he wants people to be more aware of the disadvantages that some have and to understand that these athletes put in a lot of hard work to compete.
But our athletes are just that, they're athletes. They're athletes with different abilities. They're not disabilities, they're just different abilities. So that's great. And then also,
while this was the last major event for the athletes, some will try to go on to compete in the Rio Olympics. Back to you, Danielle.
Thank you, Erica.
The Black Awakening Choir is one of VCU's oldest student organizations and is the only gospel choir on campus. And they just wrapped up their end of the year concert. InSight's Aaron Dean sits down with one of the choir members.
I'm here with Allie Dentu, business manager and choir member for the VCU Black Awakening Choir. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
I know we were talking earlier and you said that the choir has been active here at VCU for almost 50 years. How has the choir changed over the years?
I would say we've just become a little more contemporary. We sing a lot of contemporary gospel music, especially reaching into sort of what's popular around the area, making sure that we are reaching to both the older community of churchgoers and the younger community, trying to reach everybody.
And I understand that the choir is not only VCU students. Explain that for us.
So we are a student organization, but we are also a community choir. So we offer I guess you would call it membership to people outside in the community. So as long as you're under the age of 30 and over the age of 17, you're able to audition for the choir and then can be a member of our choir.
Yes. So we have some video from your pre-tour concert, excuse me. So where are some of the places that the choir has gone for tour? And I know you all go once a year. So where are some of the places that you've been?
So this year we were in Atlanta. Last year we were in Miami. We've been to Nashville. We've been to Orlando, Florida. We have been looking into going a lot of other places, but a lot of what we do is sort of south because it's during our spring break. So, you know, you want to have a little bit of fun for the choir while we're down there.
And what are some of the things that you all do on tour?
For the weekends, we usually sing at local churches. We've had the pleasure of singing at Dream Center, which is William Murphy's church, and also Bishop Paul Morton's church. And we sing at high schools while we're there, so that Monday, Tuesday, we're usually in high schools trying to encourage students to apply to colleges and universities and encouraging them that, you know, life after high school is a thing and that they should be looking into what they should be doing after.
So you would say that the goal of the tour is to share the love of music that you all have and to encourage students to attend college?
Oh, most definitely.
Also, You all recently had your end of the semester concert this past Sunday. Tell us about that. You all had award-winning gospel artist J.J. Harrison. What was that like to sing with him?
It was probably one of the most fun experiences of my life. It was so exciting and invigorating to be able to sing behind somebody who's won an award. It was, of course, my first time singing behind someone who has won an award or like records on a national level. And I was just like really excited, and it felt like a different experience. I think that the choir as a whole was just like really into it. JJ did an amazing job of sort of roping us into his sort of ministry on that day, and it was just a lot of fun. It was a new experience for me, and I'm excited to see sort of where we go in the future with our artists and guests that we bring in.
Yes. And what I understand, just last semester at your fall concert, Brent Solomon from NBC 12 recorded you all singing, and the video went viral, making almost over 800,000 views on Facebook. How does that feel, having your choir go viral?
It was crazy. Like, the response that we got from our members was just like, oh my gosh, all these people are watching our videos. And it was just like really fun to see that, one, our ministry was getting out there, that people were being affected in a positive way by what we do, which is always our goal. Our goal is to be ministry focused. So it was exciting to get our ministry out there, but also just to share the love of music that we have. We love to do what we do, and it's obvious in how we portray ourselves as a choir, and to be able to share that with other people was really exciting.
And just quickly, you all were just recently featured on a Facebook commercial. Being a student org, how does that feel?
It's just really cool to be able to reach a scope that's larger than Richmond or VCU. So I think it's just exciting to be able to reach out to other people and to see that we're being noticed on not just a local level, but also a national level.
That's wonderful. I've been spending our time today with Ms. Allie Dentu of the VCU Black Awakening Choir. Thanks again for joining us.
Thank you.
A Manchester area became an artist's canvas last weekend. It was all part of the 3rd Street Art Festival, tied with Earth Day. People had the opportunity to see art being painted live on different walls of surrounding buildings. Food trucks and vendors were spread out along Manchester. A percentage of food, beer, and craft sales were donated to local art programs. About 15,000 people came out to celebrate.
Plenty gathered around Great Shiplock Park last weekend to celebrate the 23rd Earth Day Richmond Festival, put on by the Richmond Foundation. April 22nd marks the anniversary of the birth of the modern environmental movement, put into place in 1970. Folks could enjoy kayaking on the James, musical performances, and guided bike rides along the Capitol Trail. The first Earth Day led to the creation of the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, which contains the Clean Air, Clean Water, and Endangered Species Acts.
Of all the restaurants that Richmond has to offer, vegetarian options are some of the best. Richmond was just named one of the top 10 vegan cities in the U.S. The list is provided by PETA. A few of the restaurants that made the list are Phoenix Garden, Vegetarian Restaurant, Balasso, Raw Enlightenment, and Strange Matter. Carytown's For the Love of Chocolate even made the list for their select vegan items. Other cities were included were Los Angeles, New York, and Austin.
And finally tonight, summer is around the corner, and it comes with high temperatures.
A local company is working to save lives through a phone app. InSight's Nancy Gabaldon has more on the story.
It's a tragedy when we hear about the death of a child after being left in an overheated car. According to a San Jose study, since 1989, an average of 37 children die each year after being left in hot cars. A little invention called the Lollipop Cargo device works to prevent just that. A local Richmond company called Videla & Company launched the Lollipop PC in the summer of 2015. CEO of Videla & Company, Tommy Lesperance, has appeared on many shows like Good Morning America and talks about his product.
Dawson and I were here at the park, and let's say I put this on his waistband and he could walk, which he can't right now, and he ran out to the other side of the park and I was maybe reading a magazine or not quite paying attention, then my phone would alarm and trigger and let me know that that device has broken the barrier, and it would give me a sound similar to this.
The Lollipop Cargo device is essentially an alarm that goes off on your phone when you get too far from an object you don't want to leave behind. Most parents are using it as a way to keep track of the most important aspects of their life. Parent of 3 Natasha Long believes that the Lollipop PC device and app can be useful for more than just its main purpose.
You can not only use it for yourself, but possibly the kids as well, to keep those important items close at hand.
It can also be used to keep track of your kids, pets, and any belongings. Lesperance says, if anything, the device will save you from losing things, but it can also save a life. For VCU InSight, I'm Nancy Gabaldon.
The company is coming out with new advances in the near future to keep up with their products. You know, Danielle, I think it's absolutely amazing how far apps have come along today and how they can actually save someone's life.
I know, there's an app for about anything nowadays.
Technology's really improved in 2016. And that's it for this edition of VCU InSight.
Make sure to check us out at our website at insight.vcu.edu.
You can also follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook under VCU InSight. Contact us with any stories you'd like to see on our show.
And if you missed our show or would like to watch it again, you can find us on YouTube at VCU InSight. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Danielle Gashard.
And I'm Taylor Gleason. We'll see you in the fall.